Hello everyone, my name is Liz and today I have a base strength training routine to help maintain your bone density and improve your posture. We'll be moving through a brief 3-minute warm-up before completing 2 supersets, 1 circuit, followed by 2 more supersets and then a brief cool down. All you're going to need is your body and some space to move. When you're ready, we'll get started with that light warm-up. Starting nice and easy with 2 high knees plus 2 butt kicks. Warming up through the hip flexors, the quads, and the hamstrings, waking up through the joints. Already dropping into nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, keeping the shoulders back and the chest open. Next, we'll move into some hip hinging, breaking in half at the waist, and then squeezing through the glutes and hamstrings to lift back up. Keep a nice neutral spine, keep the core pulled in. So today's workout isn't necessarily about putting on muscle, it's about maintaining that base strength and bone density necessary for day-to-day function to improve your vitality and longevity. This is the key to health, no matter your fitness goal. Next, we'll step the feet nice and wide and drop one hip to the side at a time to open through the inner thighs. Make sure you're sitting back in your heels and hinging forward at the hips, keeping that neutral spine to maintain proper balance and a strong center. You might feel a stretch through the hamstrings and the backs of the legs here as well. Alright, next we'll move into some arm swing steps. So just stepping back and forth and swinging opposite arm over the other, focusing on loosening through the shoulders. Next we have modified jumping jacks. So just tapping one foot out to the side at a time as the arms come up. Moving with purpose here, keep that core strong. You're welcome to add some jumping if you like, but feel free to keep things low impact if that's your goal. Next we have side to side reaches. Reaching one arm up and overhead as the other arm drops down. Keep the shoulders back, keep the chest open. Getting a nice stretch through the obliques, through the intercostal muscles between the ribs, into the shoulder. And then we'll reach up overhead, take a deep breath in before we exhale and come all the way down into a forward fold. Keep the knees bent here to release through the lower back and clasp opposite elbows. Gently rock back and forth if that feels okay. And then we'll slowly roll up to the top and get started with our first superset. We'll be beginning with squats. So feet come about shoulder width apart with the toes slightly angled out. Take a deep breath in to sit down and back into the hips, and exhale to squeeze through the glutes and stand. Pull in the core as you do so. Keep your chest open and your gaze forward. We're going for 10 here. If you don't quite get to 10 in the time that I do, you can either pause the video and go at your own pace, or just do as many reps as you can today. Work with where you are in this moment and build from there. Almost through. All right, moving into inchworms as the second exercise. You're going to hinge at the hips and walk the hands out all the way to a high plank position before walking all the way back and squeezing through the glutes to stand. We're going to do this 5 times. Again, move at your own pace here. The most important thing we want to do is make sure our back does not arch or collapse when we get to that high plank. So keep the core engaged in this motion. Last one here. Again, move at that pace that works for you. And let that relax. We're going to take a quick 10-second breather before we repeat this superset one more time. All right, getting ready for round 2 of your squats. Here we go. Knees aligning over toes, shoulders down and back. To increase the intensity, you can grab some weight, or you can do what I'm doing here and make sure the legs don't fully extend when you come up to the top. Keep that slight bend to keep the tension on the glutes and hamstrings as well as the quads throughout the entire set. All right, moving on to those inchworms, 5 more. Inchworms are fantastic because not only are we working upper body strength, we're working the core, we're working your mobility. This is a great exercise to practice to help you if you ever trip and fall. You should be able to support your own body weight. Almost through. All right, nicely done. We're going to take a quick breather here before we move on to our second superset. We'll be starting with an alternating reverse lunge. We'll be doing 20 total, 10 per side. When you're ready, start it up. Stepping backward with control, focusing on balance, brace that core, and move with purpose. There's a big difference between throwing yourself through an exercise and really taking the time to move through with intention and focus on the muscles you are trying to target. Squeeze those quads, squeeze those glutes, pull in the core, and stand up tall. Again, I'm doing 20 reps total here. Pause if you want to make sure you hit 20 as well and you're not quite at this pace today. If this is way too easy, you can grab some dumbbells, or again, just fit in however many lunges you can in the allotted time period today. All right, moving on to our second exercise, which is a reverse fly. So find a nice flat back hip hinge, and then we'll pull the shoulder blades together to squeeze at the top before slowly lowering down to repeat. We have 10 reps here. If you're feeling some tension in the lower back, your core might not be ready for this movement. So a modification is to stand up as I'm doing here and move through a T. It's the exact same exercise, just from an upright position, so there's a little less requirement of the core and the spine. I'm going back to that reverse fly motion here. All right, quick little breather, and we'll head back to those lunges. Getting ready for round 2. Here we go. Focus on nice even breaths. Really squeeze through the front glutes to come forward as you pull yourself up out of that lunge position. Lunges are essential for maintaining single leg strength and balance. This is great for stairs, walking uphill, running, jumping. Almost through. Keep that nice strong pace going wherever you are. And then we'll head back into those reverse flies or that T. Again, do what works for you today. If this reverse fly is way too easy, you can grab a resistance band or some weights to make it a bit more challenging. But again, this is a beginner workout. We're focusing on the basics today. Make sure you're not arching your back as you pull here. And let that go. All right, next we're moving on to our circuit. So we're going to repeat all 4 of the last exercises we did in one loop. We'll be starting back again with those squats. Here we go, 10 more reps. Last one. And then we're heading directly into 5 more inchworms. Here we go. Last one here. Well done. Exercise number 3 into our final set of 20 reverse lunges. Here we go. Almost through. This is the final set of lunges. Make sure you're really pushing yourself here. Focus on those details of the form. All right, moving on to reverse flies or T's, final set. Again, make sure your spine stays nice and neutral. We don't want to compensate that scapular retraction with an arch in the lower back. Nicely done. That is our circuit complete. Moving on to our next couple of supersets, we're going to come down to the floor into a tabletop position. Our first exercise will be a bird dog. So find a nice neutral spine. Then we'll extend the right arm as we extend the left leg at the same time. Come back to start and repeat on the opposite side. We're going to do 10 reps here. The purpose of this exercise is spinal stabilization. So the goal is to keep everything nice and still except those lifting limbs. Really pull the shoulder blade that you're extending back towards the glutes, squeeze that opposing glute, and pull the navel in. Focus on strength and stability through your center. This is fantastic for posture. It's great for improving lower back pain, and amazing for overall stability. Moving into exercise 2, a forearm plank. Come down onto the elbow, step out to your toes. We're going to hold here for about 30 seconds. Keep a slight tuck of the tailbone as you pull the navel in, pull the ribs in, and keep the shoulders down away from the ears. Actively contract in your core here. Almost through, keep breathing. And then we'll rest in a quick child's pose, sit the hips back, reach the palms forward. We're going to repeat this one more time, starting with the bird dogs. Coming back to tabletop position. Round 2, 10 more bird dogs. Keep the neck nice and long. A popular habit is to let the head drop down, but remember your neck is a part of the spine as well. We want to keep that length. Almost through. Good, dropping down to one more plank, elbows to the toes. We have another 30 seconds here. Keep those deep breaths going, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And let that relax. Moving on to our final superset. We're going to take a quick child's pose here just for a second, and then we'll be moving on to our backs into a semi-supine position. When you're ready, lay down flat, bend the knees, and bring the heels in nice and close to the glutes. I'm supporting my head with my hands here because I have a bun in. I also find this helps keep my lower back and core much more engaged in the movement. But when you're ready, we're going to push down through the heels and squeeze the glutes to lift the hips up high. Squeezing through the glutes and hamstrings, keeping the core solid. Make sure you're not arching the back. We're going to go for 10 bridges total here, but again, you move at what pace that works for you. Almost through. To add some intensity, you can hover at the bottom instead of resting. Keep that tension throughout the entire interval. Moving on to exercise number 2. Bring the legs up to 90 degrees. We'll move through a toe tap. So you're going to reach one foot down at a time, keeping that 90-degree angle to gently tap the floor, and then brace through your abdominals to lift the leg right back up to where you started. I'm keeping my head lifted here for a bit more intensity. You can lower yours if you like, as long as your lower back stays flat to the ground, and you can pull the abs in tight throughout the entire interval. If you're feeling some pain in the lower back, don't go all the way to the floor. Just drop the leg as low as you can, still feeling the abs rather than the back. All right, quick rest here, hug the knees in. We have one more round of this superset before our cool down. Getting ready for round 2 of those bridges. Here we go, 10 reps. So I like to imagine I'm trying to bring my lower back to the floor before anything else here. I find that keeps my core a lot more engaged in the movement as well. Imagine there's a pull from the base of your neck to your tailbone that you have to keep straight. Again, we're lifting with our muscles here, not arching our backs. All right, moving into our final exercise, we are back to 10 toe taps. Really pull the navel in, flatten through your center. Almost through. And let that relax. All right, everybody, one more time, hug the knees into the chest. Take a deep breath here. and then we'll move into our cool down. We're going to drop both knees to the left side and the arms out in a T position. Really drop the knees to the left as you pull that right shoulder into the floor. You can also turn to look over to the right to increase the twist, getting a nice torso rotation and maybe a stretch through the hip and glute of that top leg. And we'll flip to the other side, same thing. And then when you're ready, we're going to make your way up to a seat, extend the legs out long, then hug the left knee in and cross it over the right leg as you hug the left knee with the right arm and twist. Sit up nice and tall here, really hug that knee in to stretch through the glutes. And then we'll switch and repeat the same stretch on the other side. We are just doing a brief cool down today. If you want a little bit more intensive stretching, check out the stretching playlist on my channel. I have lots of great cool down and stretch videos available. Next, we'll move into a forward fold. Take a deep breath in, reach up, and exhale to fold over the legs, keeping a slight bend in the knees. If you feel a lot of tension in your lower back here, bend the knees even more. Or if you want a little bit more stretch, you can straighten those legs a little bit at a time. I know it's easy to skip stretching, but it is key not only for recovery, but for progress in future workouts. Recovery is where we rebuild and grow stronger. Rolling up to the top, and then make your way to your feet. We're going to move into a quad stretch. Bend one knee, grab the foot, and pull the heel into your glutes as you gently push that hip forward. You can hold on to something for balance here. Switching legs, same thing on the other side. And we'll finish with a chest opener. Interlace the fingers behind your back and gently pull the knuckles down to the floor as you pull the shoulders back and open the chest. Make sure there's no arch in that lower back. And let that go. All right, everybody, that is all I have for you today. I recommend repeating this workout a minimum of twice a week for healthy maintenance. Take care, and I'll see you soon.